So listen, because I keep clicking on the Thread Boys posts from Silicon Valley that are like everything you thought you knew about making sandwiches is wrong. Twitter keeps serving me more tweets from Silicon Valley Thread Boys, and I love it because I'm like, holy cow, this is a different world than what I'm used to. But then also I hate it because like every single post is like, I need a personal housekeeper. I need a therapist that lives in my house. I need a personal chef. I need a personal trainer that lives in my house. I need my house to be a monastery so that I have complete clarity to seek my purpose. And you're like, damn, bro, what's your purpose? And they're like, I'm making DoorDash too. You're like, really? That's it? You're making a worse version of something we already have? You're making Snapchat on the blockchain? You need to go huff ayahuasca in like the Colombian jungle so you can come back and make like Uber Eats, but you can pay extra to get the food to you 2% faster. Just kidding, it never works. I would have thought like this is something you'd have to do if you were like the president or something like that. Or if you were like the captain of a nuclear-powered submarine who needs complete mental clarity. But instead it's like, nah, man, we're making like a worse train. It's crazy. Tomo, get out of here, okay? And then there's like 900 replies from other blue checks that are like so true. I've always been saying this. Nobody's as enlightened as a 22-year-old computer science graduate who thinks they're the only person who it would be nice if somebody else did their dishes for them so they could focus on shit they find more valuable to themselves. Meanwhile, the happiest people I've ever met in my life cook dinner and then they're like, give me that plate. And I'm like, no, it's okay, I can help. And they're like, no, I like doing the dishes. Well, what do they know? They never made Snapchat too. Are these guys related to the dudes who live for the grind? I don't know. And I can't tell if that one dude's messing with me. The dude who he made the post that was like everybody's drinking coffee wrong. I saw a post that was like, everybody is misusing caffeine. If you become addicted to it and you use it every single day, it loses its power. I use caffeine sparingly. I take 100 milligrams, and it's like 17 tweets like all threaded into one, right? I use caffeine sparingly. I take 100 milligrams on my deadlift day to help me reach a 1 rep maximum. And then the next day I take 50 to taper. And then the next day I go back to 0. And I'm like, why are you motivated to make this tweet? Sometimes I think of something funny and I'm like, maybe I'll tweet it and make people laugh. Somebody narked on me and he was like, here's one for free for you. And it was like, everybody makes mistakes when they buy snacks for their kids' lunches. You have to buy snacks that are divisible by the number of children you have. Also, what I do if I'm making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I make peanut butter sandwiches the night before, open parentheses, you can't put jelly on them because then they'll get soggy. Then in the morning, I put jelly on them so that they get fresh peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I'm like, this can't be real. But when I was it's either the greatest satire of all time, or he's a true believer, in which case, more power to you, quite frankly. But like, I wanna, if he takes offense to it, I do want to get in the mentions and basically just say, you know, it's your God-given right to live however you want to live on the planet. I'm not making fun of your soul. The way that you're tweeting is incompatible with the way that I'm living my life, which is fine. What's wrong with saving time? That's begging the question. At the end of the day, what would I say? What's wrong with saving time? The Twitter thread was 9 tweets. Probably took 15 minutes to set the whole thing up, thread it properly. I think it would only take you like 10 years of making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches the night before school instead of in the morning of school in order to compensate for the amount of time it took to tweet about how much time you were saving making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches the night before school. That's my hunch, at least. I'm not trying to be a hater. In the whole scheme of things, just disagreeing with a guy is like We can still get along. We could still be at the barbecue together. We could even have some banter. He can make my job's not real either, you know? We have more in common than we have apart, and neither of us are like war criminals or something like that, but the world is going through a global fertility crisis. The replacement rate of children is 2.1. A population is considered stable there. Canada hit a record low of 1.4 children per woman. Korea at 0.84. No one wants kids anymore? Okay, listen, I'm glad you brought that up. Many inquiring minds are talking about this. But you got me laughing because I was talking about the Twitter thread boys who they're like, oh, I'm so busy. I'm too busy to wipe my fucking ass. I'm too busy to cook lunch. Oh, I wish someone would make a meal in pill form. All I have time to do is go to work and then tweet 900 tweet threads about the most insane shit of all time. Did anybody else have the misfortune of being served the one that was like, in my opinion, the real replacement rate to keep a population stable is actually 5.4, based on this Swedish study that said, if you were born in the 1900s, 100 years later, only 25% of people had any living descendants with genetic relation to the person. So if you actually want to build a legacy, you have to have, on average, 5.4 children. And you're like, brother, first off, my ass does not want to have 5.4 kids. One is pretty hard. Two, it would be probably 4 times as hard. I don't even want to think about, like when we had 3 here, like we have my nieces here, I was like, how does Dan do it, man? Don't even get me started on sips. But also, well, like maybe some people might take this as insanity, but like, what do I care if in like 100 years I have no genetic relatives? Like who gives a shit? Like I think I can understand wanting to have kids because I have a kid. I can understand, and we're going to try a little scaling here. I can understand, though I understand the flip side of being annoyed by it as well. I can understand wanting your kids to have grandkids. But wanting your grandkids to have kids so that you have great grandkids is crazy, in my opinion. Like that mind your own business, great grandpa. And then you're going even like one generation past that. You're saying like that's a strong team right there too. You're saying like I want my great grandkids to have kids so that I can be a great great grandfather and like build a legacy. And that to me is basically insane. It's like I read The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins before he got extremely canceled, okay? This is in high school. It was like 1991. And it was basically like your genes want to propagate themselves. I read that, and even as like a 17-year-old, I was like, that makes sense from like an animal kingdom standpoint. It's cool that, with culture and stuff like that, our decisions in life aren't entirely dictated by like my adenosine and guanine wanting to pass themselves on in the exact permutation that they're already in. Some of these fuckers read it, maybe because they're not forced to take any damn arts classes in university. Some of these dudes read it, and by read it, I mean they probably read a 15-minute summary or something on some fucked up Y Combinator startup and said, oh, this is an instruction manual for like how to succeed at life. Can you explain the Adam Elmore tweet at you? I insulted him based on his tweet this weekend that was like, everybody on earth is drinking coffee wrong. In hindsight, I think it might be satire, but it got turned into a bit. Maybe a librarian posted a video about it, found the tweet, put the tweet in the video. Somebody passed that back to him. The next time he made a little Threadboy tweet, at the end of the tweet he said, here you go, this one's for you, NL. And then I replied and said, who tattled? That's the whole story there.